Okay, so we're in the attic now. We can see that this attic is very, very, very tight. I have a lot of belongings, but we see the air handler right over here. Now, because of limitations, we're very limited in what we can inspect, and the flooring, if you look, the flooring is not properly connected to the joist going down. So we're not really going to be moving around much. We're going to stay pretty much local to where the hatch is at and inspect what we can see from here. So over here, we're looking to make sure that there's proper insulation. We see all the ductwork running around. We really can't see the sheathing too much. I mean, we see little bits and pieces over here, but we don't really see much. We see that there's an old leak over here with some discoloration. Doesn't look like anything active. And it could be this area, you can see right here, older sheathing and then newer plywood sheathing. So we can tell already that this was all an extension and not original to the house. So most likely this part of the house was original. It was probably a garage. I can see the older wood over here. And then this part of the back of the house is going to be an extension, which is why you'll see the different types of sheathing. So remember, houses are telling you a story. Because of the limitations, we can pretty much see basic things. We see that there's proper insulation. We don't see any junction boxes that are open or anything like that. From the air handler point of view, we want to make sure that they're properly attached to the rafters, which we see that. We see that there's a drip pan there in case the unit were to leak. It's properly on a pan. And then we see that there's a drain there and an emergency drain. There's a float right there. So pretty much what the float means is if in the event the unit were to start to leak, the water would go into the pan, and that red float right there that's connected to the pan would then lift up, and then the exterior drain that we saw near the compressor, water would start to come out of there, which would mean that there's a clog and there's something wrong with the unit and the unit needs to be serviced. Since it's an air handler, we're not opening up the unit at all. We're simply taking photos of what we could see. If there's a serial plate on here to see the age of the unit, with this unit, since we did it, we already know that it was installed just a few years ago. And then we're looking at the trap and make sure that there's no issues with the unit. We see that there's an air filter at the end. So we want to make sure that the customer cleans out the air filter and installs a new one always. And just looking at the overall condition, if we see any type of mold or discoloration or anything like that. We see right there on one of the joists or one of those wood, it's not even a joist, but wood pieces underneath the duct, there is some discoloration over there. Now, it doesn't look to be like anything severe. This is attic space. There's always some type of mold growing in attics. But we would note that there is some areas of discoloration and possible mold areas. Again, it's not conditioned air, so it's exposed to very high heat, very cold weather. So you are going to have those areas. You just want to make sure that's not all over. But we would just make documentation of that. Other than that, the unit seems to be running properly, and we've inspected everything that we can from here. We're all set, and we're ready to go ahead into the basement and finish the inspection in the basement.